we're now in week 4, a whole month in lockdown, a whole month. And I think well, we've just had a brief conversation about what we were going to talk about today, and actually how we're feeling is actually how probably we're going to take this conversation today, because I think we're both people that find the positives in most things, and like shiny happy people around us and things. And actually this week 4 is taking its toll. Perimenopause is possibly taking its toll, where you are in your cycle and all of those things. And I think you reach a day, perhaps either in your month anyway, but maybe a week 4 of lockdown, it's compounded. So it's, feeling weirdly more melancholy than I'd perhaps normally would at this point in my cycle.
Yeah, I think that it's it's really easy to get everything confused, and the novelty of the first couple of weeks, then maybe the survival of that, then the worry of the bit on week 2 to 3 when people were furloughed. But now we've got into this 4th week, you've got people that are very firmly at home. There are people who are very firmly don't have anything to do. You've got people at home that still have lots to do. You've got the stress of trying to manage that in itself, feeding more people at home than you perhaps used to, managing relationships. Maybe you're living with people that you're not normally living with. Maybe you're living without people who've had to go somewhere else. I know there's a lot of people who have chosen to send their children somewhere else because they're key workers and they're at risk, and that's fine in the first few weeks, but now you're probably missing them dreadfully. Hormones for women, yes, we can't ignore the fact that our body doesn't know that there's COVID going on. The same things that were happening 5 or 6 weeks ago are still going on in terms of perimenopause and those feelings that we might have had all those weeks ago of anxiety and fogginess and teariness and resentment and bitterness and all of that. Are the two confused? Were we feeling like that anyway, and now we've got this, it's all compounded? Or are some days do you feel it more than others? And just like hormones ebb and flow, our feelings ebb and flow, and it's not we don't want to blame one or the other. I think it's just about recognizing that it's okay to feel them, but you might have all of those feelings in the space of an hour, never mind a day or a week.
And they change within a space of an hour as well. And also, 1 minute you can feel, actually no, I can't do this, and then the next minute you're like, well, actually no, maybe I can.
But the people that you're living with perhaps don't know what they're going to find. So an hour ago when they asked you something, you were like, yeah, fine. An hour later, you either cry about it, shout about it, or go, don't be so unrealistic. So I think that there's so much going on for everybody that everybody of course is trying to, you hear it all the time, we've got to find cheer, we've got to find positivity, we've got to find something that lifts us for part of our day. It's too much to expect maybe to be up happy all day, but find something that lifts you for part of the day, because it's okay to feel teary, and it's okay to kind of go into your thoughts and self-reflect and just take a moment and think about how you're feeling. But to stay there too long, then that becomes perhaps a bit detrimental. But also to keep those feelings inside is also not helpful. We need to still communicate with those around us, but it may be that the people that you perhaps might normally offload to, a work colleague, somebody else, a friend, they're not either around at the moment because you can't have that chat over coffee. It may be that you think they've got enough on their plate, I can't give them my worries. The people in your home, you want to be strong for them, because as women, that's what we do. We take on the role of everybody, but all of a sudden we're now teachers and cooks and cleaners and ironers, and trying to be strong for a partner, and then trying to make sure that the food lasts all week, and then trying to make sure that we're caring for relatives that aren't close by, that they've got food. That there's so many plates to juggle the stresses that we had before lockdown, you know, some of them may have gone away, but a lot of them probably haven't, and now you've got lots on top. So, you know, it's okay by now to be feeling that way. And I think we just talked about it before. You know, children, the Easter holidays have been, so we've kind of all relaxed in terms of homeschooling, and Easter weekend was there, so we had this long weekend and everything was great. But all of a sudden, I know I'm thinking, right, okay, school starts Monday, virtually, and I've got to now try and fit that in, probably with a little bit more structure than before the Easter holidays, because it was quite new before the Easter holidays, and you had that end of term mentality, whereas now it's a new term, and now that suddenly rests on my shoulders. Yes, I've got, you know, help in the house, but not. It's my responsibility.
Yeah, and I think where we're, I suppose, seen as lucky in some ways is that we have to create structure anyway because of having children, because actually we seem to have a lot of work that we could potentially do, and we've got to work out, actually, do we take advantage in some ways of the situation that we're in and not try and, you know, build an empire, but at the same time you're frightened by the fact that if you don't keep at it and don't keep up the levels, or even, you know, adjust in different ways, that all of a sudden, like, that's going to be detrimental to you, to our small business, and you know, and Emma Wilson Fitness, your small business. And it's trying to work out whether you take advantage of some of these situations where the children, you know, are at home, and therefore that, you know, there are elements of being able to have fun, but also managing your workload, and whether you know, step back and don't do as much, or actually this could be you know, a golden opportunity to try other things. And it's juggling that as well, isn't it?
It's being sensitive to everybody else's situation, which is probably where I probably put my head first. I'm kind of very much, this isn't about me, it's about everybody else. My nature is to want to take care of everybody else, not just the people that I live with, but the extended community that I provide a service for. So they're always my first kind of thought process. How do I take care of them? What do they want? What do they need? To my own, you know, doesn't matter really about me. But then you in this kind of moment of self-reflection, you go, okay, well, what about me? And you know, we all have a responsibility for self-care. We have to care about ourselves, and it's not selfish. How we do that, when we do that, it will come in peaks and troughs, and I just think you do the best you can with as much sensitivity, as much kindness, as much reality, so you don't kind of set yourself up to feel like you failed, because you can keep setting these things for yourself, but if you and write these lists, but if you've not found a way, or if there's no way at the moment to get there, then you might just be feeling a bit anxious about it. But I think it's okay. I think we all thought we'd have more time. I think everybody thought, we should have loads of time. And there's probably the odd few people out there that probably do, if they have been furloughed and they literally have nothing to do. But there's so many people that thought they'd have more time, but actually haven't. And you know, we're in danger of still running around like headless chickens, chasing our tails. And it's about learning things, learning skills. Now I'm having to learn to not do anything sometimes. It's okay to not 30 minutes. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's I think the biggest thing is making it is kindness, is reaching out to people, isn't it, and being kind, because there are people that are trying to manage their mental health in terms of it's okay to not be okay, but then there's an element of people will feel that they should try and show that they can cope, because there's that you know, and having and being kind to people and reaching out, I think is critical, isn't it, at these times, I think.
It is, but it's also, make sure that you're not always the one that does that you also have those people that you get back from.
Yeah.
Because that's important for yourself. If you're the person who everybody always leans on, if you're the person that's always giving, maybe at this moment in time, some of those things, the releases that you have gone away, and therefore you need something different. So I think it's okay to kind of understand that your needs change, and the needs change every day. And just because you did that 5 weeks ago, actually maybe you're not in a position to do that now, emotionally and mentally. And it's okay to maybe let that part of your life go for a minute, so that you can focus on trying to be stable and whatever to everybody else around you.
Yeah, I think it was reference to the fact that it's trying to come out of lockdown with your sanity, isn't there?
Yeah, totally. And I think that everybody knows to stay cheerful. Everybody knows. Everybody's been told, get your activity, go for a walk, do this, eat well, blah 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 blah. I'm not saying it's blah 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 blah. I do that too. But at this time, relationships are being tested big time within households, not just between partners, but between everybody, between siblings, between in-laws. Everybody's being tested, because the role that you usually play perhaps isn't a role that you feel right now, today, in a position to fulfill. You just need, it's almost like, what about me? But it's about self-care. It's not about being selfish, and that's not something that lasts forever. It's just for that hour, or just for that day, or just for that moment, and it's temporary. But it's about making sure that everybody else around you understands that, so that if you need to take yourself off for a couple of hours and either throw a pillow around the room because you're feeling angry, bitter and resentful, or you want to cry into that pillow because you're feeling teary, that you've done it. Because it's probably far better to do that than take it out on the wrong person at the wrong time, when actually that's not what they said and what they did wasn't about that. That was just how you were feeling.
Yeah, so true. It is. It's right. It is. Yeah. Anyway.
Confusing times, maybe, at a time when we're supposed to be all going, oh, we've got a new normal. It's still okay. Yes, of course it's a new normal. It doesn't stop confusion.
No.
We forget about the one, we've still got a heart, and that heart carries emotion. That's not always, and okay, the two might be, connected, mental health and your heart, but it's still there, isn't it?
It is. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much. That's us a month in lockdown.
That's us sorted. Thanks for therapy.